All right, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for those of you who are waiting. We apologize for being a couple of minutes late. But wow, what an opening game
Wow, I
for the
know.
Cincinnati Bengals.
I mean, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So the Bengals, look, they defeated the Colts 34-23, and they overcame a lot of adversity, a lot of difficulty, a lot of sloppiness. And in a way, that is more satisfying for a team that, in general, has not been so good at overcoming deficits.
I know. This is a different kind of team today. Almost,
Yeah,
almost, almost.
yeah. I mean, the one word that I want to use, the team that I want to talk about, is resilience. Resilience.
That's a nice word.
Thank you.
Resilience.
John is here. So nice to have you, John.
Hey, John.
Glad I could be here.
It's a happy,
Party
it's a
to the
happy day to
party.
be a Bengals fan.
Hey, fashionably late and after a fashionable victory, I should say.
It is
Yes.
quite the fashionable victory. That the victories are in these days.
They are.
Yes, yes. So look, I've just a few things that came to my mind, and you guys can then comment on them. Uh, Sean Williams is starting a strong safety. He gets kicked out, and rightfully so. Let's be honest. And
Yeah.
Why?
well, it was a bad hit. I didn't like that hit. And I know Sean Williams. I know his playing style, and I don't think he was trying to hurt him. But you have to know, as a veteran, you have to know, what to do in that scenario, and he did not. I don't like that. But Fejedelem, came in, had a very nice game overall,
That's right.
and the game sealing, a strip and a fumble return for 83 yards, I think, right, John?
Yeah, 83.
Yeah, and
Long way.
yeah, and Carlos Dunlap, he had a very big play, and he was called for it's a technicality that this one I don't really understand. He was called for putting his weight on the quarterback,
Which is what happens after, a sack, naturally.
Right, right. Well, I think they expect the
Well, there are some more levitating type defensive players. I have
Yeah.
not seen many in the NFL, but there is like a witchcraft society, and there are.
right.
So I mean,
Right. Well, I mean, maybe if he works on if he works on that or some sort of yoga, maybe you can help him with that. Hodgie, he can work
I
on
am
his technique.
here, Mr. Dunlap. I am here, and if you come on our show, that will just be the tip of the iceberg with the stuff we're going to help you with, man.
Yeah, but look, he comes right back and gets a key sack. Again, resilience. Just not giving
And
up.
Dadio, do you agree? And John, do you agree that, if I may interrupt and interject here,
Yeah.
that sack was key, yes, but it was the, how shall we say, mojo, the waves and waves of mojo that changed. And the one thing about the Bengals that strikes me is that it's a team where the defense gives energy to the offense. It's like on a lot of teams, it's really the offense is the power horse, but for the Bengals, it really comes from the defense and then sort of just pours onto the rest of the team. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but that was my reading of today.
Well, if that's the case, then the defense would be reciprocating very agonizing energy because they were left out on the field for the better part of the first half because the offense couldn't advance the ball down the field for the most part of the first half.
Yeah. That's true. That's exactly it. That's what I'm saying. They need the defense to carry the weight too. I mean, they even need the defense to score when it comes down to it.
Well, let's slow down there. Andy Dalton, after that first interception on the first pass of the season, again, resilience.
Yeah, it was a different than Dalton. I was surprised. He didn't look as jittered. I feel like.
Well, look, he comes back. He completes 21 of his next 27 passes. Are you kidding me? With 2 touchdowns, one to John Ross, one a perfectly placed 38-yard touchdown to AJ Green. Andy Dalton.
Yeah, that was a beautiful drive. Andy Dalton looked good toward the end there. I mean, Dalton looked good. Shall we say that Dalton is gonna be what Dalton's gonna be? He definitely looked good, but it's not a perfect team. And I think that's what gets me about what Bill Lazor's doing here is he's just saying, look, Dalton's going to be what Dalton's going to be. My offensive line is going to be what the offensive line. Run block's going to be what run block's going to be. I have what I have, and it is what it is. But I'm going to compensate and make adjustments. And that's what I think we saw today, is that it was a team that could persevere. I think that's the word you've been looking for, Dadio, though you've been avoiding it the whole show. It's a team that can persevere despite adversity. Okay? It's a team that can persevere. You know what I mean?
Let me clarify something. So a lot of people thought, okay, the Colts are terrible. This is the easy win, blah, blah, blah.
No, Colts are not terrible. Whoever said that was wrong. Colts are not terrible. They have Andrew Luck. Anybody got Andrew Luck?
That's the last thing. The Colts aren't a good roster, but they have the better quarterback.
Exactly. And he's not just a better quarterback. He is the type of quarterback who can win you games single-handed.
He's one of the best. He is one of the... When that man is healthy, he is one of the best. He's underrated, even though he's still rated high.
Look, the problem with Andrew Luck is the sloppiness. So he can make those huge plays that people are going to think I'm crazy, but only a handful of quarterbacks can make.
Oh, I agree.
He has that kind of Aaron Rodgers.
He's got the brains. He's got the body.
Combination of athleticism.
Oh yeah.
And athleticism helps out all the time, because I think the narrative from this game is going to be that the pass rush didn't do its job, and I think it's going to be overblown because Andrew Luck did a fantastic job in his first coming back, maneuvering in the pocket and extending plays and keeping those throws alive beyond 3 seconds. He did a great job of avoiding the pass rush.
Well, look, yes, John. Oh, yes. I mean, look, if Andrew Luck were a mushroom, he would be a shiitake mushroom. The man was driving his team late in the fourth. He was converting third downs, second downs, 4 or 5 first downs. Then you get the critical strip and the touchdown return by Fejdelem that totally changed the that's what I was talking about, the defense dictating the mojo on the field, and that's really important. So I mean, Luck is the shiitake mushroom of mushroom quarterbacks. That's interesting. Yeah, which is the finest mushroom you can get. I mean, on the black market, you can get finer mushrooms.
Well, look, we're talking about a Bengals team coached by Marvin Lewis. That I just want to put this out there. With about 4 minutes left in the third quarter, they started on a 24-0 run on the road. Think about that for a second.
It's unheard of.
It's unheard of. I'm talking about.
And it all started from that
Can we give Bill Lazor some credit here? Because
who? I didn't hear. Give who credit?
Bill Lazor.
That's who I was giving credit to. It's Bill Lazor. And it's Bill Lazor, and it's this little guy with this little drive, with this little engine that could guy who I'm calling Mixon. He just
yes. I mean, the way he used Mixon, despite our problems run blocking, what he got out of Joe Mixon. Well, first of all, Joe Mixon, I want to say this. He is an offense unto himself, that guy. I mean, that guy can get it done no matter what.
Did you see the play with little Joe Mixon? Did you see the play with little Joe Mixon? He was.
Why are you calling him little? He's 6'1", 220.
Because of the effort. It's just him. It's just him against the universe. It's just little Joe Mixon against the universe.
I get it.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Compared to other human beings, he's a big man. But compared to the universe,
Andrew Billings is big, for instance.
He's just a speck in the universe, and yet he's. Listen, do you remember the play? And I'm talking about when your little Joe Mixon was running, and he's like, nobody's covering for me. And then he runs the other way, just like a little fire ant. He runs the other way. Yeah. And I mean, I was like, this poor guy, he is all alone out there, like a pinball in an arcade. The man, he is our MVP after Carlos.
I would say this about Mixon. I think because he lost 10 pounds over the offseason, and I think when people talk about players losing weight, they think it's like something uncommon. But most players, I would think, their weight varies from time to time. But on the surface, 10 pounds doesn't seem that much. But for Mixon's case, he definitely does look a lot sprier. He looks a lot more agile out there, and a lot more than last year. And we saw some of those runs where he finished going into the second level, getting more extra yards, avoiding some tackles. And I think that's something that we didn't see last year.
He had the spring.
And he made it work.
But John, and he took some big hits. He did some big hits, especially.
He's gonna have to avoid them in the future. He's gonna have to, because that's the same problem that Ezekiel Elliott does. he wants to try to take on the contact route, so he's got to get that fixed up. But he played very well for what he had to work with, and the numbers showed.
That guy's a football player. I mean, But yeah, so look, I want to talk about this.
So wait, can I get? I know you want to talk about one thing, but this is a very quick question for John. Assessment after game one of Frank Pollack and his O-line. Has he been able to do anything more than what you can do with the lack of talent that he has?
No, I think he maxed out what it is. And we have Bobby Hart, who's a very bad football player, and we saw that. Alex Redmond, who's an undrafted guard, he played about as well as he could. Billy Price had that couple of miscues in the first quarter, but he very, very much evened out. No issues from Cordy Glenn or Clint Bowling. I think it was about as good. It's about as average or a telling performance as we're going to see going forward from the offensive line. And that's basically the whole synopsis of the offense. It's a very talented offense, but you can see that the one or two major weaknesses that they have the potential to slow them down just enough to maybe lose the game.
Yeah.
Well, John. So one thing, I didn't want to get to the negatives yet, but we're talking about the offensive line. So what happened to Billy Price on that first pass by Andy Dalton was intercepted? He just got blown up.
I tell you what, I was actually in the car when it happened, and I ended up getting a stream on my phone, and I looked away right when it happened. But next thing I know, all of a sudden Price is literally in Dalton's lap, and Dalton's trying to throw it away to a running back, and the running back doesn't look back, and all of a sudden it's almost a pick six. But I think Price got beat off the snap pretty badly, and it was literally the first
Okay, so it was his first pass protection ever in the real game in the NFL.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is it inexperience? Is it something that is just in his physicality or his playing style? Is it something correctable, or is it something that we have to worry about?
I think it was just a bad rep.
It's mental.
It's also that, but he didn't play great. His play definitely leveled out throughout the game, but he's going to face a much, much tougher challenge against Baltimore's defensive interior, and that's definitely something to be watched out for.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. The upcoming test on Thursday night, we're going to talk about it a little bit later. But I want to stay with the positives, and we can move on.
Okay.
Yeah. So Dalton looked like a different quarterback at times in this game.
Yeah.
So on that touchdown to Green, like we said, he hit him in stride. We've seen Dalton go deep to Green a lot, but Green has to come back a little bit. He hit him in stride. I can't emphasize how important that
He did miss that first one though, just by a little bit, and he got lucky with the pass interference call.
You almost wonder, since Laser was the QB coach before he was the offensive coordinator, if there weren't certain tricks that he was saving, knowing that there might be a day when he would be offensive coordinator. But it looks like something he has taught Andy Dalton to do.
That's what I'm saying. That's the point of emphasis in the offseason is getting Dalton better on the deep passes. We need to connect more on his deep passes.
Yep.
And Dalton looked improved there. And he also made something happen on my favorite play of his in this game. And there was about 7 minutes left in the game, a little bit under 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was 3rd and 8.
Yeah.
And we were up by we were up by a little bit.
Yeah.
We're up by one, I think.
We're up by one, right? We're up by one. And Dalton recognizes the pressure. That's very important.
Yes.
But his awareness when the pressure comes. So he recognized the pressure. What does he do? He moves around. He rolls to his right. He steps up. He goes on the run to Tyler Boyd. 17 yards. First down. Bengals end up getting a field goal. Go up 4 points.
That was so crucial because we see Dalton not just recognize the pressure, but gets skittish when it comes. He has that internal clock in his head. And next thing you know, he's rolling out to the right and abandoning all the room. He actually stepped up in the pocket that time, kept his eyes downfield, gave himself some room, made a good throw to Boyd. That's ultimately what got them those 3 points.
That was his best play of the game. Some of these
coaching.
things, they fly under the radar, but that was his best play of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely had the bright moments. He definitely had some old Andy Dalton moments too, and we saw that earlier in the game. There's a tendency with Andy Dalton, and I don't mean this as a criticism, but there's a tendency to, he's got these things that he likes to do. He likes a play to go a certain way, and when the play doesn't go exactly the way he was hoping, or maybe close to it, we just lose the play. But you're right. I mean, he rebounded, and it was really a refreshing thing to see. To see Andy Dalton do that in this game. So let's hope he can keep doing that in the future. But there's going to be so much pressure on the guy all year long with this offensive line.
And I don't think Dalton was as accurate as his completion percentage was, because there's one drive where Joe Mixon made a one-handed catch. AJ Green made an outstretched catch on a slant. His receivers definitely helped him out, but that's just because around him. So ultimately, at the end of the day, it just might not matter.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, but look, so I want to talk about some other positives. Randy Bullock, he hit two relatively long field goals, 42-yarder and a 39-yarder late in the fourth quarter. So this is an area of concern for him. He pulled it off. It was nice. John Ross, he had a touchdown on his very first catch. That is going to do wonders for his confidence, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be huge for him. I want to move to the defensive.
Okay.
I want to move to the defensive side.
All right.
And look, the Colts don't have a star running back, but we held him to just 3.4 yards per carry, which is nice. We held T.Y. Hilton to just 5 catches and 46 yards. Of course, he got a short touchdown. Okay. Drake Kirkpatrick made a fantastic play on 3rd and 2 with about 10 minutes left. And the Bengals had a 1-point lead. He made a very nice pass breakup. Nick Vigil played very well. Yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, Dre played, like, I know people are going to dog him for the dropped interception, but I think that game is what is the best you can expect from Dre. You can expect like a couple bonehead mistakes like that dropped interception, but man coverage, he was pretty tight, and he doesn't have the best ball skills ever, and he doesn't turn around, but he played well in bump and run, and against T.Y. Hilton, that's about as best as you're going to get from him.
Right.
Jesse Bates looked good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's his first game, poor guy. 8 tackles. That's not too bad.
You know, and look, Nick Vigil played very well.
Vigil played amazing.
He played amazing. 2 tackles for loss, led the team with 11 tackles. This guy is coming into his own. It's very impressive. Very nice to see. Preston Brown, a guy that everybody said this guy is a small-time player. You know, he gets, he just, he gets a lot of tackles, but he's not a playmaker.
Yeah.
He had his first interception of his career on only his second play as a Bengal. What does that tell you about the way Marvin Lewis, when they singled him out and said, we want this guy, what does that tell you about their ability to get the most out of players?
Don't let interceptions skew you for abilities and coverage, because he got burned quite a bit across the middle of the field. That's still.
But I'm talking about making big plays, and he made a big play.
And
he gave up a lot of big plays
John,
too.
I feel like, John, you're a numbers guy. I get it. As a fan, if a guy gets burned 7 times and then just gets 1 interception in the whole game, for me, that makes up for it. Because that is the interception.
Usually the Bengals don't get the interception. You just get burned.
That's true, but as a fan, I mean, an interception is sort of like a sundae with a cherry on top. It just makes you feel so good, And the playmaking this game, there was a lot of excitement on the defense, even if the actual numbers weren't all they should have been cracked up to be. But as you said, they were out there for a long time early on, and defense really gave us a lot to be proud of. Yeah. I mean, I thought the sacks were disappointing. I mean, 2 sacks.
Right, but like John said, Andrew Luck did a very good job of.
And obviously, the more you're out there, I mean, the less ferocious your pass rush is going to be. They couldn't get them off the field on 3rd down, and they had long drives, and they kept getting out there. And it's basically the same story as we saw last year. They bend but don't break type of defense. They could do so much better with an offense that doesn't have stalls in the first half.
But can I just point one thing out to you and to all the Bengals fans that are listening today? Yeah, the defense was good and at moments explosive and at moments weak. But this was a defense sans Vontaze. This was minus Vontaze perfect. Yep. And I feel like when that guy comes back, we don't have any problems on defense, really. This is a strong team. I mean, Vontaze makes plays, and he brings energy to everybody. So when he comes back, I feel like the real weakness is on our offense, and specifically offensive line.
Yeah, well, speaking of the offensive line, we had Bobby Hart getting blown up by Marcus Hart twice on 2 sacks. And those were the only sacks, I believe, that you gave up in the game. So that, I guess, is good. But Marcus Hunt hasn't really been productive in his career. So it's not like this was some sort of matchup against an all-pro or something.
Yeah.
That was discouraging. But late in the game, I want to say late in the game, Andy Dalton had relatively speaking, he had a nice clean pocket. A lot of times was able to make a lot of downfield throws. But there were a couple of key plays where, with the Billy Price play, a couple of Bobby Hart plays that are concerning. The run blocking, like I said, when you average 5.6 yards per carry, as Joe Mixon did, but the problems we've had on offensive line, that is just such a great way to start your season. That's such an encouraging thing. So I'm really happy about that. But next week or on Thursday, right, just a few days away, we are going to be going up against the Ravens. Now, that offensive line is really going to be tested, the home opener. So the Ravens just beat the Bills 47-3. And the Bills are not a great team.
Boy, the Bills must
make
be
the playoffs
so
last year.
upset they gave up AJ McCarron right now.
Yeah, but the Bills are not a great team. But
Could have been.
still, the Ravens, beat the team by 44 points. And we know that their defense is one of the best in the league. So what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do, John? What can they do? We're gonna talk about this, in our film school episode a little bit later on. But what can they do to correct these problems in their next game in a very small amount of time?
Billy Price is going to get welcome to the NFL, I'm afraid. Michael Pierce, Brandon Williams makes up maybe the most underrated duo on the interior of a defensive line. You have Alex Redmond making his second career start along with him, and Clint Bowling can only do so much. So I think they could have some play action rollouts to get a moving pocket. They'll try to get the ball out of Dalton's hands pretty quickly, but that defensive line consistently gives the Bengals terrorists, and this Terrell Suggs off the edge, and they might move him on the right edge to face Bobby Hart. So pray for Dalton, pray for Billy Price in the second career start, because I'm very scared about that.
You can't beat a team like the Baltimore Ravens without getting that run game going, and I'm talking about using not just Mixon but getting Gio, getting. We're talking about your mid range. I'm talking close to 5 yards. If you can get something, a few times, you can't rely on that passing game with the offensive line the way it is, and then the run blocking isn't that good either. So I don't know. They have to figure that part out on the offense, which is how do we just stay there longer? It's not about scoring. It's about how do we just stay there longer.
That's a great
time of
point.
possession.
Yeah, we lost the time of possession. Yeah, we lost the time of possession. We only converted 4 third downs, I believe.
Yeah, the third downs have been a problem. Marvin Lewis talks about it every year.
We had a bunch of chunk plays. We had some chunk plays. That is not the best formula for a Marvin Lewis team. It's not something that's sustainable. So that is something we need to improve on. Now, guys, I just want you to know, I don't want to make you nervous or anything, but we have 57 people watching right now.
Hey, guys.
So this is a record. Yeah, we're 59 now. Now that I said that, it's 59. So we are breaking all sorts of viewership.
2 people came just because.
Right, and I don't know if Sunday Night Football is on right now, but it's just amazing, that we might. I don't know. Their ratings are probably higher, obviously, but.
Well, Aaron Rodgers just got carted off, so maybe some of those people switch over to us because Rodgers.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's something to bring up the comment section about Aaron Rodgers. I didn't get the chance to see what happened. Hope he's okay. But yeah, so people want us to talk about the Carlos Dunlap play. So John, we talked a little bit about it, but I guess really, John, was that a proper application of the rule in your opinion?
Yeah, the refs aren't to be blamed for just doing their job and just calling a rule that is. I personally don't like the whole don't land with your full body weight. That rule was specifically made for Aaron Rodgers' injury last year when he got injured with his collarbone. I think it's going to take a long time for them to adjust for that, but it is possible to sack a quarterback without leaning your whole body into it. You can take that aspect out of it and just tackle with his arms, and that's exactly what Dunlap did on the second sack. Right, he wrapped him up around and just swung him down. I don't believe he got flagged for using the crown of his head. I could be wrong. But I do believe that it was mainly because he landed with his full body weight, and that's just the way that it's going to be called now. And we can whine about that, but we shouldn't throw our hate at the refs for just doing their job.
Well, and here's the thing: looking forward, because I know Dunlap. It's weird. It's almost like I feel like this is the year when Dunlap it's going to be determined if he is one of those, and I think he is elite. I think he is elite, but whether everybody recognizes him as such or not, and he's going to have to get a lot of sacks this year. And I feel like he's got the confidence too, and he's got the playmaking skills too. But going up against the Ravens, I mean, man, that offensive line on your Baltimore Ravens is so good right now. They have a bunch of guys who are back from the injuries. It's going to be tough for him to do stuff like that sack, even weight or no weight. Again, I think they're just going to be hanging in there. Hopefully, now Flacco is not. I mean, he's not a superstar. He's kind of he's a Joe Turd, as they call it.
Well, he has a new group of receivers, and it worked today.
Listen, and you put the finest shoes on someone who can't dance very well. They're not going to start dancing well. And Joe Flacco is going to be Joe Flacco.
Well, let's be fair. Joe Flacco has had a couple of down years because of back problems and so forth. I'm not saying he was never an Aaron Rodgers, but
No, I mean, Joe Flacco isn't Aaron Rodgers. He's not the Luck. He's not the Dalton. He's a Joe Flacco.
Well, Joe Flacco did have one of the best postseasons in NFL history, by the way.
If I had that kind of protection and those kinds of weapons, I would have had a great postseason.
Well, look, okay. So a lot of people want us to talk about the Steelers, who really came close to knocking off the Browns. So that was really impressive that they fought until the very end, and they almost defeated the Browns. So, John, look, James Conner, like you and I knew, Hodgie, we all know, people are saying, oh, they don't have Le'Veon Bell. The Steelers, unfortunately, they're like a machine. There is one thing they do really well is run the ball, and they just plug in. They have a good offensive line.
One thing they do really well is toot their own horn. That's what the Steelers do well. They try to make themselves. I mean, stairway to 7. I keep seeing stairway to 7. You mean like if you win your 7th Super Bowl in the year 2341, that's 7. When does it reset? These guys, they're just good at tooting their own horn. They've got a big, cow-like human Neanderthal. They call a quarterback. I'm talking about your ruthless boogers. Yeah. And I mean, they
don't understand the etiquette,
and they're blaming it on Bell. Bell's just trying to get payday. He deserves the respect. He deserves the money.
I bet Bell was so happy today.
He should have been. Le'Veon,
because I bet he was rooting for them to lose because Conner.
No, but John, the tie doesn't mean. I mean, what else do you want James Conner to do? Like you
like James Conner played great because
this was very bad for Bell. Like,
no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like the whole game, he was like, "Oh crap, James Conner's like."
No, but the win or tie doesn't matter because he's just one player. Look,
he needs something to tip his hat on.
No, they're not. Look, the Steelers. The Steelers. They are a team of principles. Okay. When they say we're not, like they have that rule, what is it, where they don't extend non-quarterbacks if they have more than a year left, right?
Yeah.
They just go to their grave. Just they're like, look, this is the way we operate. We are the Steelers. We're not about one player. You don't want to,
Yeah, that's true.
But so I kind of respect.
I give it to them. They're well managed. They're a
but then you have the problem. That's a good franchise, but the coach is a little bit immature, and that is what we were seeing. The reflection of that with the whole culture of all of them turning on Le'Veon Bell, all of them turning on James Harrison late last season, and that's a reflection of Mike Tomlin's immaturity. I don't know why we're talking about a team that is still winless, even after week 1. I know we're talking about them so much.
The Steelers are always going to be on the minds of Bengals fans. If Bengals fans have 2 goals, and that's win a playoff game, and number 2 is beat the Steelers. I mean, we beat them in any way, statistically, on the field. I mean, the Steelers, they arouse such hatred in a human being, and it's in large part, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but it's because the fans are so uncouth. They really are. Every time I've encountered, and
let's not generalize. I mean,
I know I don't mean to say all Steelers fans, but every Steelers fan I have ever seen has been just so uncouth, so ungentlemanly like.
Yeah, no. I mean, look, I think like with any group, we tend to see the worst of them kind of in the public eye, and that is a kind of like something that the team kind of encourages. But I mean, look, they're just there's a lot of people who are just Steelers fans. They're good
No,
people.
I'm
and,
kidding. I'm just kidding. Of course,
Yeah.
I'm joking around, and I'm stoking the flames of hatred between two teams. It's all a game, yeah. But here's the thing: the rivalry, it doesn't work actually in our favor. I think that's one of the reasons we don't do well against the Steelers is the way we should, is because the rivalry doesn't work to our best, because we get it makes our team a little bit nervous and freaked out. So maybe we shouldn't stoke those flames. Now I feel kind of guilty. I hope I didn't put more pressure on my.
Well, I don't think you can do anything to stoke them anymore. I think they're pretty much, I think it's pretty hot already. So, if you guys don't have any other thoughts, I just want to announce our winner for this week for the drawing. Any other thoughts that you guys have? You wanna?
I have something that's very off topic.
Yeah,
and I feel it's gonna make the fans. I mean, it's gonna make certain people upset, but I feel like we have to talk about it.
Sure.
And that is the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. Because
Okay.
we don't dip into controversy very much.
Mm.
But I'm torn about one thing here, and I'm not going to put my cards on the table. If you follow me on Twitter, and all of you should follow all three of us on Twitter. I am at Hodgie Smoji on Twitter, and you got your Dadio, and you got your John Sheeran on Twitter. You can find us. I'm very outspoken about how I feel about the whole thing. But you know what I don't know how I feel about, which is Nike making the bucks off of social justice issues. However you feel about national anthem and however you feel about Colin Kaepernick, I kind of felt a little bit strange about all of that this week.
You're
Well,
damn
but
right, Rick Holly.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm wearing a Nike hat.
what's that, John?
I mean, I've been inclined to wear them too. The social justice people, we feel a certain way. Then you have people who are cutting off their Nike patches and who are doing it. But isn't it the case? I mean, is it fair to say that Nike is trying to make money off of the people's emotions? I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying yes, but I'm not saying no.
Well, I don't think Nike knows anything but making money. I mean, that's what they do, and there's nothing wrong with that. Money. I mean, what's wrong with money? I don't understand the problem.
Well, it's like, look, it'd be like if there's something that people really care about, and then you put yourself out there to make it seem like you really care about it, but only because you know that. It'd be like if there was some famous trial and it was meant a lot to people, then you started to make money off of T-shirts about the trial. I mean, it's like.
Well, good for you. I mean, if you can make money, you make money.
I would expect that answer from you.
Yeah, I'm very confused right now with the problem. I thought this is something you want to praise Nike for seeing the opportunity.
Well,
forward thinking of them.
Yeah.
Look, so guys, I want to thank the 48 people who stayed with us throughout the show. Look, every week I am giving away a original drawing of Hodgie or me, sometimes both. It depends on how much I wanted to, conserve paper when I made these drawings. These are the original drawings we used to use in the show. Now you're not seeing the drawings because we are working on. We are going to get our puppets.
We're revamping
puppets in about a month. You all know about that. Thank you so much for everybody who gave you. Thank you, Rick Holly, by the way. We had the big donations, but I haven't really got to thank Rick Holly, who really was a guy who stood with us and kept encouraging us when we weren't raising a lot of money. And he encouraged other people. He would leave comments saying, hey, guys, did you donate to the puppet fund? And he understood. If we have the puppets, and I'm sorry, Sydney just asked, will John have a puppet? No, we want to take advantage of.
I don't get what this is so confusing. I am a puppet. Like there is somebody controlling me right now.
That somebody is Dadio. And Nike.
Yeah. Well, Nike is how we got the puppet. They said, if you use a free puppet.
John is sponsored by Nike. John is sponsored by.
Yeah,
literally a Nike puppet.
Right, and that was a great deal, but they said no, we don't want to.
I don't know, man. Nike was
because that will ruin the brand of Nike.
I got to put the dice on the table. I got to put the dice on the table. Back on Village Island, Nike was supposed to sponsor our team for our local Village Olympics, and they never answered my letters, and they never showed up. and we have
But
a
Nike has to
superstar. His
protect
name
its
is
brand. They want to make money, as we said, because they are smart.
All right.
So they're not going to,
But Nike, if you want to sponsor our show and give to the Puppet Fund, I mean, other than giving us John, we are so grateful for John. He really is the star. We'll take what you can give us, oh Nike. Where art thou?
So look, this LCYXX Ninja XX Jacoby asked why puppets?
Whatever name.
Because because
That's
they're
an
more
Xbox
lifelike
gamer
in the
tag, if I ever
drawings, and really, Hodgie and I, we
Listen,
are,
can I answer that one? Can I
Yeah,
answer that one too? Ninja XX? Listen to me, my friend.
say his full name. I mean, show some respect.
I don't see all the comments. Only you see them. I only remember.
Oh,
Ninja.
okay, yes.
But Ninja Triple X. Listen, my brother. So here's the thing. When we have puppets, okay, let me just take you to the next dimension. It's going to be HD. It's going to be good sound. You're going to see us talking in the 3-dimensionality that you were meant to see.
Right,
Plus,
right.
you have to understand the version with the drawings that was meant for the late 90s, early 2000s. It doesn't work in an HD NFL, day and age Technicolor. So the thing is, and they were also slow to produce. You might remember there would be a game, and sometimes the show would come on the air days after, because poor Dadio, with his little tiny sausage-like fingers, he would have to draw the pictures and edit things and tape them together and come up with sound and do that. And so, but when we have the puppets, we can go live as we are right now.
Look, and we're trying to improve the show. Look, we've been talking for about 30-40 minutes now, almost 40 minutes, and we could not do this otherwise. This would take like 5 days for me to edit. So Bit Itch, who is one of the biggest contributors to the Puppet Fund, said, let's go to CGI and virtual reality. Great idea. I love it. We will work on that. We will think about that. But look, so this week's winner for the drawing is Frank Bay, who not only gave...
Frank, I love your movies. Transformers was, but the rest of them, go Frank Bay.
That's Michael Bay, I believe. Is it? Yeah. Look, so Frank Bay not only gave to the Puppet Fund, but he is our only patron. He is giving us $20 a month on our Patreon site, and you can find the link if you want. We are going to, in the immediate, for now, we're trying to get better mics. We're going to get John lighting. Someone pointed out John. You can't see John. He's a little bit... he needs better lighting. When we get the puppets, Hodgie and I are going to need some, these photography lamps. Yeah. Maybe if we get even more money, we put the green screen.
I'm going to need the plastic
images behind us. So we're going to have an enhanced visual kind of experience. We're going to get better mics. So, these mics we're using right now to go
Frank,
live,
and since you're a patron of the show.
Frank Bay, thank you. And Frank Bay wins our drawing for the week, or drawings. So he wanted drawings of Dadio.
Can you show your camera on the drawing or not? Or
I'm sorry?
Can you show the drawing on your camera? We don't have that kind of technology yet.
Well, yeah.
Frank, that's why we need more money. We need that kind of technology.
So look.
Now, Frank, I just want to tell you, because you're a patron, you get to pick the players that I like and dislike. You say, Hodgie, like this guy.
Well, no, he does actually get something, which is
Hodgie, don't like that guy. And then next week, I will twist the facts to make the players that you like seem like they were good, and the players that you don't like seem like they were bad. We had this happen. Logie did this for us before. And so that's how it goes. You're a patron. You tell us what to think.
So Frank is giving $20 a month, which puts him in the elite category of patrons, the AJ Green category. And anybody who gives $20 a month in the AJ Green category gets to be on our show. So he's going to be on our show eventually. He's out of the country, but he's going to be on the show eventually.
And if you give $30 a month, you go to the AJ McCarron category.
We don't have a $30 a month,
which is super elite.
No, nobody should be giving $30 a month to the show. Look, so he gets 2 original drawings of Dadio. That's me. It's Dadio recognizes a good point, and Dadio is listening but bored. And he will also receive bonus drawings on the back of Dadio is confused and Hodgie is bored and frustrated.
He's going to get these drawings. Always.
So congratulations, Frank. And we're going to announce a winner every week. Now, coming up, we're going to have our first starting lineup winner. So, I'm going to do a drawing for a starting
So you
lineup
have to
figure. If
explain-
you want
you
to
have to explain to
participate,
the
just
young
leave a
people the
comment
NFL
saying
starting
which one
lineup.
of the players you liked best, Jeff Blake, Carl Pickens, or Darnay Scott. You can leave that in the comment section. You can participate.
So Dadio, the fans might not know. Starting lineup, they're little dolls that Dadio liked when he was back in the 90s. They're little tiny dolls of old players, and they're collectibles.
Yeah.
They're worth probably tens of hundreds of
Right. So
tens.
Sydney, yeah. So we're going to talk about that just real quick. So Sydney said, Sydney, I don't know how to say last name, Boyke said that he wants to learn more about the offensive line play and hand placement. So we're going to hopefully every week we're going to do a film session. Those are going to be on around Tuesday, Wednesday, around middle of the week. And John is going to lead the discussion because John is an expert on offensive line, defensive line, and football in general. He's going to lead the discussion of the film room. It's called NFL Film School. It's a fantastic show. A lot of people like it, and it's very educational. John's going to lead that. Last thing I want to say is about the Patreon. So I've decided, because I still have a lot of drawings, and I like, giving people stuff. Anybody who signs up at Patreon at all, so even if you just give $1 a month, which puts you in the Mike Brown category, it is the category of, you're technically supporting the show. Just like he's technically supporting an NFL franchise.
Bare minimum. It's the way you roll out of bed and you
Wow. Well, hold on, guys.
Uh-oh.
Rick Hawley, listen to this. He just said, I have professional lights, bulbs, backdrops, green, blue drops, and more I will be happy to give you. Did you guys hear that?
Where do we meet you and when?
Rick Hawley, are you in Cincinnati? Are you in the Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky area so you can give John one of your lamps?
Rick Hawley.
Wow, he is, guys.
Perfect.
John,
Perfect.
you are in business?
Rick Hawley, meet us in a dark alley at 3 a.m.
No. Well, if he has the lamps, it won't be that dark. But yeah, but that's great, Rick. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. Wow, I love our fans. He's in Dayton. So that is fantastic. Worst case scenario, he ships it and we can reimburse him from the Patreon. But anybody who gives anything on the Patreon will receive a drawing. No contest, you just get the drawing. Wow. Anybody who gives $1 until I finish the drawings. And most of the drawings are me or Hodgie, but we have some of Bengals players that have drawn for the numbers they tell you a lot show. So we're going to give all of them away eventually. Anybody who gives anything, $1 a month to Patreon, that's great. Because remember, the Patreon, we're going to use it to improve the show. Now Rick gave us all this, we can go and pursue the mics. But if we keep growing the Patreon, remember, we're going to be able to do more and more. And maybe if we get big enough, make this the full-time jobs. All right. I feel like that is all we have to say. Anything, John or Hodgie, you want to add?
Well, I do have one small thing. John, should you want to go first or should I go first?
No, this should be good.
Well, it's not that good. It's just what I always say. And it's a message not to John and not to Dadio, not to the fans, not just to one fan. And his name is Carlos Dunlap. Carlos, whenever you want to be on the show, there is a place for you right on this show. And I want everybody to tweet at Carlos and say, come on the Dadio and Hodgie and John show. Come on, sorry if I spit when you speak. We want you on the show, Carlos. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. Well, that would be great. I was in contact with his agent for a while. Our fans know that there's a number of... So Living Fresh with Bates wants to know if we're selling any merchandise. That is a great question. Anybody who's listening, if you have any ideas, if there's anything you would like us to make, t-shirts. Now remember, we can't have anything. The Bengals, the NFL is very strict. And Bit Itch said also merchandise. This is great. So what we can do is Dadio and Hodgie and John. I believe images of them. Nowadays. We can do images of Cincinnati. We can do, thank you, Ninja Jacoby. He says he keeps saying he loves us. We deserve 100,000 subs. Thank you. But look, we can do images of us. We can do images of the city of Cincinnati. We can maybe do Bengal Tigers. I don't know if the NFL if it has a monopoly on those. But we can't do images of the Bengals players or the Bengals uniforms. So tell us in the comments, please. And if you agree with the comment, please upvote it so we can recognize. If there's merchandise that you're interested in that you want us to make, I will personally design them. And I will get them produced. I will draw them and we'll get them produced. and hopefully we'll try to make them very affordable. Plain white shirts with the drawings. Okay, so, oh wow, okay, Rick Holly, this Rick Holly guy, man, he's incredible. He says, I have a portable Bluetooth mic if you want it.
Rick,
Yeah.
so generous, man.
Okay, orange hat with D Nation, good idea. Please put it in the comment section, not the chat. Put it in the comments so people can upvote. Those who have who have ideas for the merchandise, please put in the comment section. And look, if we have 50 people who want to buy merchandise, well, actually, maybe it has to be close to 100 to make it affordable. I don't know. I will look into it. If we have about 100, I will definitely do it. Okay, drawing of John Sheeran, I can do that easily. Put it in the comment section, folks, please.
Who said that?
Bit itch.
Bit itch, you're my dude.
Bit itch. I feel like that is a how shall we say a bad word.
Well, because player likeness is a bit itch, and that's why we have to do these drawings.
But John has his own drawing somewhere on his wall now, right?
Oh, it's over there.
Yeah. So the original drawing is now in John's house.
In fact, it's like a shrine. I'll show you guys.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, show us.
Oh yeah, look at it. Look at this bad boy. It's all up in the light and everything. It's beautiful.
Pretty cool, man.
It's fantastic. It's actually, it honestly, like, you know what museum is in France where they have the Mona Lisa? We should probably replace that in a few years.
Yeah,
just personal.
We should have a Dadio and Hodgie and John Swiss museum, and people can come and they can just look at all.
Well, I wish you told me this earlier. I'm giving all my.
Dadio, I was thinking, like, if we're gonna make clothing items, I feel like T-shirts are passé. They're so like last century. What if we did fedoras? Dadio, Hodgie, John fedoras.
Well, put it in the comment section.
You want a fedora.
I need numbers here, folks. You know what? Hey, listen.
It's very cool. Everybody's wearing them, and you could wear them to Bengals games, and everyone know, hey, those guys with the fedoras, those are the Swiss. Sorry if I spit.
Okay, look. If you want, I can start the Twitter poll. I think the best thing is, because not all of our viewers have Twitter, so let's just do in the comment section. Anybody who has an idea, put in a comment, and then upvote. Anybody who agrees, upvote it. And if I see enough upvotes, we will look into getting that produced. Wow, I love you guys. 38 people watching, and for like 15 minutes, we haven't even been talking about football. You guys are incredible.
Yeah. And I'm sure people have to go to work and have to go to sleep.
Right. And there's a Sunday night football game on, but they're watching this. That's crazy. All right. Well, that was fun. So thank you so much for Hodgie and John Sheeran. I'm Dadio. We will see you next time. SVT Pies.
Bye-bye.